Hello and welcome once again to the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show. I'm Brooks Hill, voice of the Black Bears, alongside first-year head coach with the Binghamton Black Bears in the second year of franchise history, Gary Gill. And Gary, what an opening weekend to start the hockey season off.
Yeah, you can't really can't beat that. That's for sure. We had a great start both games, and came out with two wins.
2 wins, meaning 6 points in the FPHL. The 6 points was a little offsetting to me the first weekend through, but I've now been informed on how the FPHL does their standings. So 6 points sitting atop of the Empire Division. And one thing that's different this year for fans of the Black Bears from last year after the Devils left town is the FPHL is back to having two divisions, the Continental and the Empire Division. And facing off with Elmira last week, how big is it to go ahead and grab 6 points out of all six available against a divisional team?
It's outstanding. You can't ask for anything better than that. You want to make sure that you're taking the points when they're out there for you. And obviously, anytime you can beat anybody in your own division is a great day.
Well, speaking of points, the Black Bears had a ton of them across the weekend in terms of goals. 16 combined goals in 2 games. 8 goals per game is not a bad average to start, but obviously that number is going to go down. We hope it doesn't, but hindsight being 2020, it'll probably go down. We had 7 different goal scorers on night one, and the team was sharing the wealth, getting plenty of assists, goals, power play, shorthanded, even strength, 4-on-4. Let's talk about opening night first before we get to the first road game. 4,000 people in attendance inside the arena. You guys come out, warm-ups fired up, and with a lot of guys returning from last year's roster, did you get the vibe that a lot of those guys were picking up right where they left off last year in their playoff run?
Yeah, I think they definitely picked up from the end of the season. When anytime you come back, you always think, well, you got to rebuild. Even the guys that are coming back, they have to restart their engines. But I think all the veteran leadership and even our rookies into the team this year came out with, their feet on fire, getting up and down the ice and working really hard. They have something to prove this year. They want to win the cup this year.
Well, there's no doubt in anybody who came to night one that the Black Bears have one goal, and the only goal is to come back with the Commissioner's Cup and bring a championship back to the city of Binghamton. We're celebrating 50 years of Binghamton hockey this year when we flip over the calendar to 2023. Plenty of teams have come and gone through the area. Black Bears right now are doing the heavy lifting for the city in the sports season, with the Rumble Ponies being out with minor league baseball. But you talked about coming out and picking up right off where they left off, and they came out with a lot of firepower. And, in fact, first period, 16 shots on goal. All right? You outshoot Elmira every single period, and you end up with 48 night one. And just so I don't speak out of turn, on night two, you go away with more, going 51. Over 100 shots in 2 games. And they're like not shots missing the net, shots on goal. And translating into 16 goals, 16% make on the shots, it's got to be, something that is a little unexpected.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say unexpected because we hold these guys at a very high standard. They hold themselves at a high standard. I know what they're capable of. They now know what they're capable of, and we're going to go up from there. And I think the goal scorers are going to score goals. And like you said, 7 different guys had goals on night one, and we had 6 goals the next night. And I think that around 5 guys had different goals. So we have scoring from all levels, and that's exactly what we're looking for.
That's the voice of head coach Gary Gill of the Black Bears. One thing that I found interesting was the team's performance going from night one to night two. Home and away, you have some different guys slotted into different spots in the lineup card, and also guys who were scratched on night one draw in on night two on the road, and some say harder to play on the road than it is at home. And it seemed that you guys picked up right where you left off. You got out to an early 4-0 lead against the Mammoth on the road. The Mammoth had their home opener on Saturday for all the fans who are listening in on the radio. And how does it speak to some of the guys who, it is a business, and your job is you have to put 18 guys on the lineup card. It's like, hey, we don't have you in the lineup card tonight, but we're going to need you to be ready to go tomorrow. Or it's like, hey, last minute something got tweaked, you're drawing in. How does it speak? What's the mindset for a guy just having to be ready because you never know when you're going to get called upon to actually go play a game.
You're right. I mean, all these guys have to be ready at a moment's notice to go. Like, we can make changes during a warm-up session, pre-game warm-up, that, hey, we're going to switch these two guys and this guy's going to go instead. Everybody's ready to go, though. Like, the guys that we put in on Saturday night that didn't play on Friday night, they're ready. They were ready to get in the game. They want to play. And the guys that sat out, I mean, they understand the business, and sometimes you play, sometimes you don't. And it was just, right now we're just trying to get a feel for where everybody fits in. So, yeah, I mean, the mindset for the player, I'm going to let the players, when you talk to them,
hockey fans,
you can ask that question to them, because I think it'd be a pretty cool be information session there on how they feel about that and where that comes from. But you know what? We have professional guys, and they act professional all the time.
That's spoken like a true experienced coach, a veteran of the game yourself, coming with a ton of experience through minor league hockey, ECHL, AHL, the Southern Professional League, back in a year in the Fed. Let's talk about some comparisons on opening night as a coach. And I don't know if you can speak for Tom, your assistant, because he's not here, but what's going through a coach's mindset on opening night? Is it it's just any other game, or is it, hey, like, we need to put on a show, we need to make sure the guys are entertained, we got to make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed? What's something that maybe that's behind the curtain that not the everyday average fan can see?
I think first and foremost, you're right. Dotted I's, T's crossed. You go over that in your head a million times. Are you prepared for the game? Did you prepare your team for the first game? You really want to play in your home opener. You really want to knock it out of the park. There's so many different emotions and thoughts that go through that entire day and leading up to that day for a coach. We're trying to, we want to have a good team, a good showing for our fans, so they can get behind it and see that we're a blue collar team for the blue collar town, and give them a great viewing of their team.
Well, on opening night, Black Bears get out to a 1-0 lead, and a little bit down the road, Elmira ties it up 1-1. Talked about being blue collar and responding, answering the call. If I'm doing my math correctly, 15 seconds later, Binghamton takes the lead once again.
Yeah, if you can answer a goal with a goal, mistakes happen in the game, and we made a mistake. They were able to capitalize on it, and then we came right back. That's the kind of effort that you need from your team, and not just that game, in every game that we play. If you give up something, you got to go get it back. And the guys on the bench were real positive. They scored on us, and the next line said, we're going back, we're going to go get it. And they went out and got it, and they just never looked back.
Binghamton would carry a 3-1 advantage into the locker room after 20 minutes. First intermission, first 20 minutes actually with the guys that counted. I know you guys had some exhibition games earlier on in the year. What's the message coming from the coaching staff during the break, or was it the players that were speaking up more during the first intermission?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. When we first come off the ice, I don't say anything. That's the players' locker room at that time. Me and my assistant go into the coach's office. We look at video real quick, see what we're doing. But the main message that we gave back to them was keep your foot on the gas. You don't take anybody for granted. No matter what you think, how they played in the first period, it can drastically switch in the next period, and even more in the third period when they're next on the line. So don't take your foot off the gas. You floor drive it like like you stole it. And that's our message. Don't take your foot off the gas.
Well, Binghamton sure did not take their foot off the gas. In fact, they probably went pedal to the metal in the second period, scoring 5 goals to begin in the middle frame, and then they would add 2 more in the final period. They would go on to win that game 10-1. And we talked about it after the game on the first night before we got set to go on the road the next day. But just for the fans who are listening, either in the restaurant or on YouTube back at home, 10-1 can be misleading in opposite directions. What's the message to the guys after you go and you win a game by 9, knowing that you have the same team the next day, less than 24 hours later?
The game's over. That's simple. The game's over. That's behind us now. Yeah, we got 10 goals. Tomorrow night's a different night, a different team. Like, we switched up some guys. They switched up some guys, and so the message is nothing changes for us. We continue to do what we do. We don't worry about what they're doing. We worry about how we're going to capitalize on our opportunities and limit our mistakes. So it's just being prepared day in and day out.
Well, before we move on to game 2, just a quick little tidbit on the stats. Starting goaltender Owen Liskowitz, 33 saves out of 34 shots that he saw in front of the net, so over a 96% on the save percentage. That's got to be a good start for Owen and build some confidence. In a game like that, I know you probably don't want to give up 34 shots, but is it good for one of your goaltenders who, was on the team last year, one of the fan favorites here in Binghamton, to see a lot of shots and stay involved as the game goes along?
Well, we like to stay involved, but we don't want to give up shots. That's the whole idea of our D zone, is making sure that, we're up in front of him. 5 guys are playing in front of him, the defense apart, and, we're his support, and then he's our support when we break down. And Owen had a great outing and, stopped a lot of pucks, like you said, 30-some shots, and, and some very quality shots and some not-so-quality shots. But, when we needed him most, Owen stood up and protected the net for us.
And by my count, when I was taking notes while the broadcast was going on, Liskowitz actually had 4 shorthanded saves and some odd man rushes where maybe the power play wasn't clicking at the time. And, sometimes, like you said, you can lose focus. Your foot comes off the gas pedal just a little bit. But Liskowitz was bailing a lot of guys out with some big saves in the second period. But let's fast forward now to night number 2. Team gets ready, loads up the bus in a short drive to Elmira down the road. The Mammoth being a new franchise this year, the Fed Prospects Hockey League. We have to go through all of the opening night festivities that Binghamton had the night before. You guys were on the ice a little early and kind of skating around, I saw. And I saw one thing while I was doing the Triple Cities Family Dental pregame show is some of the guys were coming over to the bench, and you told them, no, keep skating around, keep staying loose, everything like that. How important when you know that you're going to have to be out of the locker room, but you're not ready to drop the puck, how important is it for people to keep moving, keep the lactic acid from building up?
We talked a lot about that. I mean, there was a quick change in what Elmira was doing pregame, and we talk about we got to face adversity. We have to face it head on. We can't shy away from it. We'll fight through it. And, there was a couple delays. We were ready to come out and no one told us that there was a delay. So then we finally come out and we're still delayed. And you know what? We handled it like true professionals. We just handled it. You got to face adversity. Just run right through it. And that was our message through all that. And yes, it is hard on a player when they're amped up and ready to go, and then they got to stall for 15, 20 minutes. That 15, 20 minutes makes a difference in how we play.
It's unique to hear a hockey perspective on that. A lot of times when you see delays happen in sports, it's because of weather. Hockey is one of those indoor sports that you're not going to get a lightning delay or the field's too wet. Sometimes the ice doesn't cool at the right temperature or it starts to melt. I've been to games where that's been involved, but you talking about facing the adversity, being ready to go, kind of see it like it's almost like a pitcher going through his warm-up, and then either you get sped up or you go too long and something messes up in his shoulder and his throwing motion. So just a little sports comparison out there for all of our fans listening in. Game number 2, get out to a 4-0 advantage very quickly. 61 seconds into the game, Tyler Jurich gets on the board, and it looked like he kind of got the monkey off his shoulder, because at least in my eyes and hanging around Tyler in the locker room and around the arena before we left on the bus, seeing that Tyler felt that he was the only member of the team who didn't score on night 1. And so to go ahead and get that monkey off his back in game number 2, a minute into the game, must have been a real sign of relief.
I think goal scorers want to score. That's just what they want to do. And yeah, anytime you feel you tighten that stick a little tighter, but he's a prolific goal scorer. He'll find the net. It's just going to take him a minute and get going, and that's what happened. The first game he didn't get it, but you know what? He dished a lot of passes to guys that did score. So, that's at the end of the day, it was a team effort. That's why we had so many goal scorers in both games, because guys are not being selfish. We're moving the puck.
Like you said, a lot of people passing the puck around, not being selfish, and it's sharing the wealth. Tyler Jurich led the team, or tied with Nikita Ivashkin with the team lead in points last year, 55 goals for Jurich, and now he's only 54 away from his record last year. So that it was a good thing for Tyler to go ahead and see that. Elmira does get one late in the period to get it 4-1 going into the break. Second period, night and day. That was one of the things I talked about on the broadcast. In the second period, only one goal is scored, and we had to get 19 minutes into the period before somebody broke the ice in the second period. So how is it changing the tempo-wise? In the first period, you're starting, goal, you're stopping, you're resetting, all these kind of things. And in the second period, the penalties do start to pile up on both sides, but both goaltenders are settling into the game. Joe Shepard was playing in pipe for the Black Bears that night. He did a good job, 34 of 37 on his save count. And it's just a completely different flow and rhythm. And for someone who didn't play hockey as a kid growing up, what is it like going from a high-scoring period like that to just teams going back and forth, trading chances, and the goaltenders standing on their heads?
Well, not every period is going to be filled of goals. Like you said, it took 19 minutes before we got the next goal. But when you're playing shorthanded as much as we were, the goal scoring probably not going to happen. If you get a couple shorties out of it, great. But typically that doesn't happen. So our main goal was just trying to keep our composure with all the penalties that were happening. They were so many different types of penalties. Was a bit confusing even to me, like
Absolutely.
what was going on. But you know what? Good teams find a way to get through sticky situations, and that's pretty much what we did in that period.
Well, after that period, you would have a 4-goal advantage going 5-1 into the locker room. And in the third period, and I guess for the first time in the season, yet it's only 2 games, Elmira starts to put something together as the period goes along. You guys do get a goal, make it 6 goals, but Elmira comes and they get 2 shorthanded goals. And I know as a coach, now I coached lacrosse back in high school, you coach professional hockey, so 2 completely different levels. But when your team is on the man advantage and the other team is scoring, I know it has to be frustrating. What's the message to the team after you give up a shorthanded goal? Is it go back out there and get it right back? Or is it, hey, let's settle down and, we don't need to force things over, turnovers into the neutral zone, down center ice, take the easy pass. We don't need the hero play at this point in the game.
I think it's, the pressure, it's a pressure situation. You just gave up a goal when you've got a man advantage. No one likes to do that. But the big message that we were trying to get across on the bench, and the players started talking to each other about it, is stay calm. Don't overreact. It's a goal. We've all been there before. We've been down 4 goals and come back and win 5-4. It happens. But you can't, when you get into a panic situation, is when it'll cost you more goals. And we gave up another late period goal, shorthanded. I thought we were on 4-4, but yeah, you got the stats. I thought we were 4-4 at that point. But regardless, 4-4, 5-4, late in the period to give up a goal, you don't want to ever give up. And under 5 minutes, you don't want to give up goals, and that's what we did. So it was. It was a learning experience for everybody on the ice. Like, how are we going to combat this? How are we going to handle the transition of being scored on, and what are we doing next? And when you're shorthanded, you don't go out and try to score another goal. You just keep trying to prevent from another goal going in and doing your job a little bit more, tightening up the screws a little bit more so you can tighten up your D zone and forecheck and all that stuff.
I think the final 10 minutes of the Elmira game is a good, humbling perspective that didn't cost you a game in a losing column. You still got the 3 points, but it also showed, the guys, the coaching staff, everybody involved with is like, hey, he's like, if we get off of our game, like, these are things that could happen to us, and other teams can take advantage. And at that point, it was a 4-goal game, make it a 3-goal game. 6-3 is the final score. Skating away, got the 3 points, and now 2-0-0 on the year. Let's turn our focus a little bit now to the Mississippi Seawolves coming into town this weekend, Friday and Saturday. If you need to get your tickets, you can still get them at binghamtonblackbears.com, and it's not too late to get season tickets as well. You can call the offices, and somebody would be loving and helping you through the process in becoming a Black Bears season ticket holder for the 2022 and 23 season. So, just like Elmira, new team coming back now. Some fans of minor league hockey will remember the Sea Wolves from a long time ago. You know, the name has been passed around. They had a great turnout last year when they were running exhibition games down in Mississippi, but Mississippi hasn't played a game yet. So you guys have 2 games already played up against the Sea Wolves. How big of an advantage is that for you, our guys versus Mississippi's coming up to New York?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a couple games under your belt, get a couple of the kinks worked out, you know, that's good for us, and it is a bit of a bonus for us. But you know, I don't take anything from Mississippi. I don't think that we're going to walk on them. I think they'll be better than what we faced last week. The players already think that way as well, which is good because you can't overlook anyone, whether they're a new team, an old team. You can't, whether they were the champion last year or the last place. You don't overlook anyone, and that's the mindset we have. We're not doing that. I do think that it'll be a good game. You know?
Phil Esposito, the general manager and the head coach for the Sea Wolves. He's been up and down through the minor leagues for the last couple of years of his coaching career. You're nodding your head. Have you? I would say
I've coached against him.
Coached against Phil. Yeah. I would say good terms.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a warrior, you know. Phil's a warrior, and he puts together good teams, and so we know that I know, and some of the players here that have played for him know, he's going to put a team that's going to battle together. They're going to battle, so we're gonna have to battle too. So, do I think we're compatible? Yeah. I mean, do I think we're better? No, I don't ever predict that because I think the game will tell the tale.
Talking about the tale, the Sea Wolves, rather, coming in Friday and Saturday night. Puck drops at 7 p.m. both nights inside Visions Veterans Memorial Arena. What's been the talking point so far in practice this week? And I should preface this with yesterday was an optional practice for the guys after playing back-to-back and coming off of a back end of a home-and-home. Today was the first real day of practice for the team. What is the biggest thing that you guys are trying to improve or work on this week based off of the 2 games that we played last weekend?
Well, I think the first thing that we try to work on today is moving the puck quicker, not delaying as long with the puck, not holding on too long, not overhandling it, but moving the puck quicker. We did a drill today that every 3 seconds a pass had to be made, then every 2 seconds, then every 1 second the puck had to be moving, and it worked out really well for us. We got faster and faster. Now, we never told the players we changed the time on it, but we blew the whistle quicker and quicker to make it moving faster and faster, and the development of that drill, by the end of it, you could see night and day. And then our main focus after that was our defensive zone coverage and how we're going to handle our defensive zone and making sure we're not panicking, we're not running around, causing any loss of energy because we're doing something we're not supposed to. So that was our main focus today.
That's the voice of Black Bears head coach Gary Gill. We are going to take a timeout, come back. We have a very special guest getting ready to join us here on the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show. Stick around. Hockey fans, the Black Bears are back in town this Friday and Saturday night against the Mississippi Sea Wolves. Come out Saturday night for the annual Halloween costume contest presented by our friends over at Party City and Slaughterland. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Jimmy John's is a college student Saturday sponsor. Are you a college student? If so, you can purchase $10 tickets to all Black Bear games on Saturday nights and receive a free gift courtesy of Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is located on the Vestal Parkway close by Binghamton University. They even offer freaky fast delivery.
Every Saturday night home game, we offer the Little Venice 4-pack, 4 Black Bears game tickets, and a $25 Little Venice gift card for only $44. Call the Black Bears office to get this deal.
It's not too late to get season tickets. Single game tickets are always on sale. Check out BinghamtonBlackBears.com today. We even offer a group rate for parties of 10 or more. Call our offices for more details. And go Black Bears! Hockey fans, the Black Bears are back in town this Friday and Saturday night against the Mississippi Seawolves. Come out Saturday night for the annual Halloween costume contest presented by our friends over at Party City and Slaughterland. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Jimmy John's is a college student Saturday sponsor. Are you a college student? If so, you can purchase $10 tickets to all Black Bear games on Saturday nights and receive a free gift courtesy of Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is located on the Vestal Parkway close by Binghamton University. They even offer freaky fast delivery.
Talk about the first 2 games and how that experience came. Okay. Oh, sorry about the technical difficulties. This is a Tyler Pekarsky, Black Bears defenseman, and a Rhode Island native, correct?
Correct.
All right, there you go. All right, I guess I was doing my homework just a little bit there. So, Tyler, what we were talking about before we turned our microphones back on, what is your perspective on the first 2 games coming as a player? We got coach's opinion, you know, from the X's and O's and the whiteboard standpoint, but as a guy who's actually out there on the ice, how did you see things?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a good sign when we're winning 10-1, pretty good blowout. But overall, you know, a lot of guys trying to work into new systems. It's completely new system that we're working with, new forechecks, new penalty killers, new power play units. So everything's kind of new. I think sometimes we're a little rough around the edges, but overall we get the job done. And again, main focus this week in practice is probably just to gel those systems, get them a little bit more solid.
We talked about it on episode 1 with Gino D'Angelo, Tyler Jurich, Gavin Yates, you know, the rambunctious bunch that they are. What's the biggest challenge about learning a new system with a new coach at the helm of the team?
That's a good question. Obviously, we've all been playing for a pretty long time, so a lot of the systems do translate over. But I think the biggest thing is you just have to figure out how your teammates play, where those guys are going to be in certain situations, and then just kind of take it from there. A big part of it's chemistry, so just getting to know each other. And then from there, everything should pretty much smooth over.
Well, obviously, things went smooth for the Black Bears in opening weekend, and as we talked about in the top of the show, 16 goals in 2 games, pretty solid start. Now, a lot of offense has been the key, but it's good defense like guys like you and other defensemen on the team who, you know, yes, the goalies did make a ton of saves in the first 2 games, but you guys on the back check taking the puck away, doing your best to stay out of the penalty box. Penalties were at a surplus, especially in Game 2, on both sides, not just the Black Bears, but Elmira, I believe, ran out of room on the penalty sheet. And you guys, I think, as a unit, responded well to what I noticed was people playing with different partners on the defensive end from game 1 to game 2. Like, for example, I saw that Regala moved up into the one spot paired with Kyle Powell. And guys playing with different people, different guys getting looks on power play time or penalty kill. What's that like? Because you guys only practice for so often every day. Does everybody, really get the opportunities like, oh, hey, Pekarsky, like, now you're going to you're going to go out there and you're going to run the power play, or it's like, oh, hey, like, we need you to go out there, and at some point you've done it, and it's just like, hey, just kind of remember maybe what you did as a youth or a junior?
Yeah, I mean, everyone should be, especially at this level, you need to be ready to go when your number's called. So I think that's a big part of it. Defensemen playing with new defensemen, yeah, it's a little bit different. But again, at this level, most defensive principles stay the same. So I think everyone on this team, for the most part, yeah, new systems, new coach. But we're all pretty much, ready to go when our number's called.
Let's talk about something that maybe not the average fan picks up on while a hockey game is going on. I know a lot of people get caught up in following the puck because, the puck leads to goals and goals win games. What's something that a fan could look for that's not exactly the puck but really tells you how the game is going?
Yeah, you can take a peek back on defense. Just take a look at like an average defensive shift, especially a penalty kill shift. There's a lot of thought process that goes into penalty kill in particular that is usually overlooked by like a common fan. So us penalty killers, we always are thinking, always have our head on a swivel, and that's definitely a huge factor in these games. So.
One thing that I noticed in game 1 was how well you guys got in the passing lanes as a penalty kill unit. Your sticks are down low in the ice, taking away the passing lane. They're always moving too, and it's going to take, a seam pass to really get through to cause a high danger chance for Elmira in the opening weekend side of things. But now as we turn to Mississippi, we asked Coach what you guys were improving on today in practice. What are some of the things that the guys are looking to improve on as a cohesive unit going from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, so one thing that was definitely stressed this week, or so far, is just moving the puck faster. We have a lot of times in that game against a, I want to say weaker opponent, but, an opponent that wasn't quite up to our caliber. We had a tendency to hold the puck, maybe sometimes try and do a little bit too much. Against Mississippi, that probably won't work, right? So we're really trying to emphasize just moving the puck a little bit quicker, and that was really our main focal point today, and that's going to be our focal point throughout the whole week.
I was able to stop by practice for a couple of minutes, and I described it as someone who, again, did not play hockey as a kid, as you guys are playing 4-on-4 in a half rink or just in like the defensive zone. I go back up to the office and say, oh, that's what the guys are doing. And I was very quickly corrected as like fours. They're playing fours. And, I kind of felt like an idiot. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm still getting my hockey lingo down. But I guess that's the drill that you're talking about is the quick puck movement and the one that Coach is talking about where the passing is every 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and 1. Because I was noticing the whistle was blowing quite frequently. I was like, the guys aren't stopping. And I'm now knowing that, oh, that's a signal you have to move the puck, move the puck. And what does that drill do for players who are at your caliber? You guys are all professionals, out of juniors, out of college hockey, from wherever it may be, now playing at a high level that, oh, hey, like we're still trying to fine-tune everything. And some of the basic things, just as puck movement, is what's going to separate us from other people in the division.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Even if you look at just all levels of professional hockey, right? You have guys in the NHL, and like the biggest thing that separates guys in the NHL from us is just that they think that much faster. Excuse me. But they're just constantly moving the puck just a little bit quicker. And if we can get to the point where we are moving the puck a little bit quicker, we're probably going to be in a better position. So.
Well, a 2-0 start for the team as Mississippi comes in this week. Seawolves in town Friday and Saturday night. Puck will drop at 7 o'clock on both nights. Let's go back a little bit in time for you, growing up in Rhode Island, in the smallest of all the 50 states.
That's right.
What is the youth hockey scene like? I've asked in the past, like, when do people start playing hockey? A lot of people saying around the 4 or 5 age range is like when they start skating, and then maybe getting on like the first rec team's house, stuff like that. Let's fast forward a little bit to, let's say, the high school level where things start to get a little bit more serious. People start getting recruited. Some people start thinking about juniors. What was it like for you, let's say, when Tyler Pekarsky was a freshman in high school?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a freshman in high school, I played public high school all 4 years. It was pretty uncommon. But, I wanted to play with my friends. I wanted to keep hockey fun. And for me, playing public high school hockey was a ton of fun. Rhode Island, it's a hockey state. Even though we're small, we're tiny, people absolutely love hockey there. Played some of the biggest crowds I played in was actually in high school, back home in Rhode Island. So it is a hockey state. After that, I went to college at Johnson & Wales University, walked on there, played 3 years there, and then got the opportunity to come here. So,
what's it like going through? So you go through the walk-on process, and I think that's always a very unique situation across any level, any college, any sport. Is you go to the university. Did you have intention when you were going to Johnson & Wales of, hey, like, I am going to go play hockey there, or is it just like, hey, you know what, like, I'm going to go try this, and we'll see how it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I went in with the mindset that I didn't want to stop playing hockey, so really all summer during tryouts, I just gave it absolutely everything that I had, and thankfully caught the attention of the coach and decided to keep me around. So, some guys might go in with a different mindset. For me, it was just, I'm going to give this absolutely everything I have because, quite frankly, if I don't make this team, my hockey career is probably over. So.
Well, obviously, it seems that things have worked out at least so far, playing the 3 years at Johnson & Wales at the college level and now playing professionally for the Black Bears. And we talked about what the team was improving on, differences between week 1, week 2, level of opponent. Obviously, you guys aren't going to win every game by 9 goals. I think you guys know that. Even though you would want to, probably not going to happen. What are some of the things that people behind the scenes, as I keep alluding to the phrase, taking a peek behind the curtain, what are some of the things that the fans who maybe show up to the games or come out to events, what are they not seeing that you guys are striving for?
I'm just going to go back to for me, I'm a penalty killing defenseman. So one thing that we're certainly striving for is just to have a really great penalty kill. So just doing little things right, getting, stick in passing lanes, making tape-to-tape passes, and then making the correct defensive reads. So those are all emphasized. Yeah.
Well, last time I checked my stats, you guys operated at 90% on the penalty kill week 1. Hopefully, you guys can stay at that number. That is good enough to lead the league right now, but unfortunately, only 4 of the 10 teams have played a game. So again, you have to take that stuff with a grain of salt. Well, Tyler, we want to thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. And we're going to be back with you after these messages. More to come on the Tully's Good Times with Coach show.
Hockey fans, the Black Bears are back in town this Friday and Saturday night against the Mississippi Seawolves. Come out Saturday night for the annual Halloween costume contest presented by our friends over at Party City and Slaughterland. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Jimmy John's is a college student Saturday sponsor. Are you a college student? If so, you can purchase $10 tickets to all Black Bear games on Saturday nights and receive a free gift courtesy of Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is located on the Besco Parkway close by Binghamton University. They even offer freaky fast delivery.
Every Saturday night home game, we offer the Little Venice 4-pack, 4 Black Bears game tickets, and a $25 Little Venice gift card for only $44. Call the Black Bears office to get this deal.
It's not too late to get season tickets. Single game tickets are always on sale. Check out BinghamtonBlackBears.com today. We even offer a group rate for parties of 10 or more. Call our offices for more details. And go Black Bears! Hockey fans, the Black Bears are back in town this Friday and Saturday night against the Mississippi Seawolves. Come out Saturday night for the annual Halloween costume contest presented by our friends over at Party City and Slaughterland. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Jimmy John's is a college student Saturday sponsor. Are you a college student? If so, you can purchase $10 tickets to all Black Bear games on Saturday nights and receive a free gift courtesy of Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is located on the Vestal Parkway close by Binghamton University. They even offer freaky fast delivery.
Welcome back into the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show, now joined by another defenseman for the Binghamton Black Bears, none other than Jake Schultz, or Schultzy, as the guys refer to him. Jake, thanks for coming on and being part of the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So just right off the top, Schultzy, the nickname, and something that I picked up with hockey players, it sounds like everybody can get a nickname just by adding a Y to the end of their last name. Is that true?
I think it is true. Unfortunately, I've never had a cooler nickname than that, so I think it's going to have to do.
Well, you seem like a really cool guy. You know, you got plenty of expression on your arms. Let's go ahead and just deep dive into that. Go ahead and do like our little player profile right now. Let's talk about some of the ink on your arm, because obviously it's very meaningful. What do we have going on here?
Well, a lot of these I got when I was like in high school and just got out, so at the time I was kind of just getting whatever I thought was cool. Now I do have a lot of meaningful pieces, but they're kind of smaller. I got something from my grandma who had cancer. And I got my sister's names tattooed on me. One of my favorite junior teams, and the best one I have is on my back. You can't really see it, but my son's name is Conan. He's 8 months old, and I have Conan the Barbarian swinging an axe. And it's eventually going to be finished by him being surrounded by an army of like the undead. So
that is probably the most interesting tattoo that I've ever heard of.
Yep. So I love it. So
I'll let you in a little secret. It's a lot cooler than mine on my back, and it's also not nearly as big. All right. So let's get into opening night. Now, officially on the roster, they have you listed as a hybrid forward and defenseman. Can you confirm or deny that you can play forward as well?
Yeah, I'll definitely be jumping back and forth. I think being a utility guy, like later in the season, we make additions and trades and whatnot. So I take pride in being able to be wherever I can be to help the team out. So,
well, on night one, obviously, Binghamton got off to a real hot start, a 10-1 victory. and we've talked about it, almost kind of beat the dead horse. But what tells the story of the game a little bit differently than just looking at a box score and saying, okay, they won by 9? Like, what's something that somebody can pick up on and be like, actually, like, if you look at time of possession or how many hits that we had, like, we were dominating that game, not just putting the puck in the back of the net?
Well, I think honestly it just goes down to experience. We've got a lot of guys on our team that have been in this league for a few years and have been there and done it. They got a newer, younger team, a lot of new faces. I don't think any of those guys have ever played together, so chemistry goes a long way, you know.
I think having 13 returning guys from the roster from last year definitely helps out, and not all 13 who returned did play on opening night. Some guys played on Saturday, or people like yourself just played like Friday night. And we talked to Coach about it, about, hey, you got to have your number ready to go. Don't know if you're going to play at home or on the road game. Not every weekend's going to be a home and home. Typically, it's like weekend set, and you have your roster ready to go. What's some of the mindset, or is it nerves, jitters, everything like that, like going out for opening night, like, okay, like we're actually playing a game that counts for something tonight, or, you know, since we do have so many veteran or returning guys, like, hey, it's just another hockey game?
Well, I think obviously the home opener is a game that you need to win to send a message to the fans, and I think that, you know, we're the team to beat this season. So, you know, for me it was special. It was my first game in the black and green. So I was glad that we came out and it showed that we were just clearly the better team. So. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait. I think we're going to do great things this year.
It seems that not only you, but a lot of the guys on the team are happy to be a part of the Binghamton hockey family. You know, whether it was a former organization, fans who have been here, season ticket holders for the last 30 years. People were coming up to me during the game while we were broadcasting, just saying, oh, like, welcome to Binghamton, everything like that. It seems that everybody is all behind supporting the Black Bears and being part of a higher purpose than just yourself, as you were talking about. And it seems that a lot of every person on the team, I should say, not a lot of the guys, every person on the team has a lot of pride in, you know, wearing the black and green, putting on Binghamton across your chest, and because you guys are, you know, really not in it for the money right now. It's for the love of the game, and you guys have such a respect of the game of hockey. You want to play it the right way, and you also want to, you know, entertain the people who are coming into the arena. Over 4,000 people on night number 1. You know, hopefully it only goes up from there. You guys, or the organization rather, had a great first season last year with hockey coming back to the city. And if you keep winning 10-1 at home, I think more people are going to keep coming out. And if more people keep coming out, that means you guys are going to be, you know, looking at sellouts, more energized. Does it help you play better when there's more fans in the arena?
Yeah, I think so, especially when you're playing for a team that has so much history, you know, like at least for me when I went out there and we were opening up our whole opening roster of the guys. If you just look up in the rafters, you know, there's years of amazing hockey players and teams that have came through this. So I think that we're all proud to be here, and you know, like you said, it's not really about the money. I think we're all here to win a championship and come together and win. So, you know, those memories last a lot longer than making $500 a week or whatever in a higher league. So, at least for me.
Well, that's very well spoken, and it's a very selfless answer that it's a team-first sport. And one thing that I've always admired about hockey players, and ESPN ran a commercial last year about it, interviewing players, and reporters always ask them the question. Sometimes they get led into a question hoping to get an answer so they can write it up or post it on social media. But hockey players do a really good job, but always saying we, us, the guys, team, etc. Always as a cohesive unit, not I, myself, me. It's always a we answer, not a me for hockey. One thing that I've gotten to know, at least with some of you guys for the 3 weeks that I've been up here, is that you guys are very, hey, we all have the same goal in common, and we're going to do our best to make sure that we all achieve the one common goal and bringing a cup back to Binghamton. So my 2 cents on that, and a little bit of an observation. Talking about where Tyler came up in Rhode Island, you were coming up from not too far away in Rochester. What's the youth hockey scene like that in Rochester?
Yeah, Rochester is actually it's pretty good for hockey. I think it's kind of a hockey hotbed. You know, there used to be a lot more teams. I'm not sure exactly how the youth hockey is there now. But growing up, there was the Rochester Alliance, and there was tons of great teams at Junior Americans where we got to go play in those big arenas. Like we play in NHL arenas and whatnot, and being so close to Toronto and to Canada, that there's a lot of talent around there. Like I'm a '96, so growing up, like I used to play against Connor McDavid. He's a year younger than me, and he played up. So, that's just a name, and that was just someone that we played regularly. So. Yeah, I'm happy that's where I'm from, and I'm very thankful and glad that my dad did everything he could to get me into this sport, because I fell in love with it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So
It sounds like things have been working out for you in hockey so far. We want to wish you and the entire team the best of luck as the season goes along. What's the biggest thing that you guys are going to work on here against Mississippi in week number 2?
I think just coming together as a team. A lot of us, we want to come together as fast as possible, but a lot of us are, new to each other, new faces, and getting the names down and just coming together as a team. So ultimately the end goal is winning a championship. So everyone's got to buy in and do all the little things right. There's a bigger picture. Everybody's a piece to the puzzle, and if we can figure out how to put it all together, we're going to have something special here.
Well, Jake, we sure hope that they do. We want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Have a good rest of your night. Make sure the kid gets home at an appropriate time and gets plenty of sleep. So
well, after we go bowling, for sure. We're going to
boys
together.
Gotta hit the lanes.
We're going to hit the lanes and have a good time.
Okay,
so.
last bumpers or no bumpers?
No bumpers, sorry.
No bumpers. There you go. You heard it here first. All right, Jake Schultz, everybody. Final messages coming up after this. You're listening to the Tully's Good Time with Coach Show.
Woo!
Hockey fans, the Black Bears are back in town this Friday and Saturday night against the Mississippi Seawolves. Come out Saturday night for the annual Halloween costume contest presented by our friends over at Party City and Slaughterland. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Jimmy John's is a college student Saturday sponsor. Are you a college student? If so, you can purchase $10 tickets to all Black Bear games on Saturday nights and receive a free gift courtesy of Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is located on the Vestal Parkway close by Binghamton University. They even offer freaky fast delivery.
Every Saturday night home game, we offer the Little Venice 4-pack, 4 Black Bears game tickets, and a $25 Little Venice gift card for only $44. Call the Black Bears office to get this deal.
It's not too late to get season tickets. Single game tickets are always on sale. Check out BinghamtonBlackBears.com today. We even offer a group rate for parties of 10 or more. Call our offices for more details. And go Black Bears! Hockey fans, the Black Bears are back in town this Friday and Saturday night against the Mississippi Seawolves. Come out Saturday night for the annual Halloween costume contest presented by our friends over at Party City and Slaughterland. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com.
Welcome back into the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show. We want to say a special thank you to Jake Schultz and Tyler Pekarsky, who took some time out of their evening and joined us here inside Tully's Good Food and Great Times located on the Vestal Parkway. The next Coach's Show is going to be on November 1st, the day after Halloween. We will have a full recap of the previous week's games, and we'll also be looking forward to the upcoming matchup against the Elmira Mammoth back on the road after the November 1st Coach's Show. And Coach Gill, your final thoughts as we get ready in for Mississippi weekend here in week number 2.
6 points.
6 points?
6 points.
Well, we hope that you guys are able to go out there and execute what you guys have been working on all season long and through training camp. I will say my final question to you is, what's been the difference between game week practice and training camp practice?
Well, the boys get to play. Like, at the end of the day, they'll go through all that to play the games, and now we're into games, so the grind begins, and we're excited to get out and play those games. They're a great bunch of guys. They work hard every single day, and that's their reward for their work, is to be able to play in those games.
Well, we hope the Black Bears can be rewarded with 6 more points this weekend. They sit atop of the Empire Division. That is the head coach of the Black Bears, Gary Gill. We're signing off on the Tully's Good Times Coaches Show. I'm Brooks Hill. We will see you Friday night inside Vision Veterans Memorial Arena for puck drop at 7 p.m. against the Mississippi Seawolves. Have a good one, everybody.